Good morning, cavers, dwellers, and splunkers. Welcome to another Saturday morning nerd out. I'm excited. It's been a quiet week, surprisingly, in the nerdy world, but Secret Invasion is keeping us going. So hope everyone's caffeinated and ready to nerd out with us. And I'm Graveyard, and without further ado, here is the one, the only, clearly a Skrull in disguise, the one and only Frey Girl.
I already drank all my caffeine. Man. Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
With Skrulls, caffeine hits differently with Skrulls. It's like 10 times more, so it helps me sleep. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
The question is, how much sugar do you put into your coffee? Is it Gravic level?
So I had a theory about that, but it didn't turn out to be anything. It was just me being weird and connecting stuff. So I watched Iron Man 3 though. Yeah, and it still holds. I like it. I like Iron Man 3. If anything, just for the whole Christmassy vibe. It's a Christmas movie.
All right, and also they're curious.
Wait. I want to do it.
Okay, do it. Hype her up.
And next we have the one, the only, sometimes Premier Mommy, sometimes Agent M, but the always spectacular Mezzo.
Yay!
Hi. I'm sitting here like, Hi, Chris. Hi, Chuck. How are you? Thank you for coming in today.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, guys. How did you have a good week?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I got to play Escape Room with Graveyard yesterday on stream, and that was fun.
Surprise live.
Yeah, it was a surprise live, and it was an escape. I had this series of escape rooms that I knew would be kind of like his taste, and this one we did the level of is called Psycho Circus. It was very
that would
kind
be
of
the one you would want to do it.
Yeah, it's more up like a horror-ish alley. So with that one, so I knew he'd like that. So
yeah,
a whorish alley. What did you guys have to go
horror?
Yes. And Jack the Ripper was there.
My first sip of caffeine.
Ooh. Well, speaking, with that, I hope everyone enjoyed the live. It's up to you, Matt. So I'd love to do, because the summer for work, I get off a couple hours early. If we want to start doing escape room Fridays, like that.
Ooh, like I do escape room Wednesday, escape room Fridays. You and I play the horror ones, and Aubrey and I play the ones that are not horror.
I mean, we could call that series "Escape for the Weekend." So yeah, let us know if you guys like that. I know Chris was watching; it is awesome. Let us know. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you like that live. We'll keep doing it. But who's ready to get into this nerd out today?
I'm so ready.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's time for our third episode, or fourth actually episode of Find That Skrull. All right, Frey.
It's me. I am the Skrull. I'm in my Skrull era. So,
but you're talking like Madison.
I think Madison is a minion of Mephisto. It's just there. I mean, Sin is in her name. Let's just face it. All right, so we're off topic already. Yay.
Mark number one.
Mark, okay, 1 for Jen. All right. So on episode 3, we got to see more of Nick Fury's wife. So that's always fun. Although, why does Scylla have a gun? And then we also got more of Gaia. The Gaia stuff I thought was really good. And now I'm like, is she really dead? I don't know if she is or not. When we're talking about Skrulls, is she? It's like, did someone else pretend to be her? But I mean, she changed back to Skrull. I think she's not dead. I think she changed back on purpose and she's still alive. Or it's somebody else. I don't know. I'm lots of mixed emotions about that. And then the other big thing is, well, the other like question coming out of it, I guess, is, was that Rhodey's voice on that phone?
I mean, it
It
was.
could have been. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say who it is, but it sure sounds an awful lot like our friend Rhodey. But we also learned in the episode they can change their voices because Talos changes his voice
Mm-hmm.
to mimic good old Bob. So, so is it really Rhodey? Is that a misdirect? So that's like the things that were coming. I think this is where we're starting towards the big confrontation. We had Talos meet with Gravik.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand the whole Gravik sugar thing, but we also found out he's got some extremis, which led me down a weird tangent about sugar and extremis, because extremis uses your energy, your body's energy, and you'd have to replenish it, and that sugar is an easy way to replenish energy versus, I don't know, like an orange or something. But yeah, so it's kind of like you have diabetes, like you always have to have some sugar with you. And the only reason why I thought that is because the guy that takes the Iron Patriot suit in Iron Man 3 is chewing gum. He always chews bubble gum, like the like old school bubble gum, and that's got a lot of sugar in it. So I thought, but they don't mention it anywhere in there. So I just think that's just a me thing, and that Gravik's just doing it as an acting thing, that he just loves sugar.
I like
so
it.
Yeah, that's it. Bonus theory in there for you guys. Go.
Well, do we say it's the phraziest or the craziest? We haven't done that in a couple of weeks.
I know we haven't. I think if it happens, I think it's a shot in the dark. If something happens with the sugar, I won't be surprised now. But if it doesn't, it's just me. It's me. It's my head and making weird things and having all of this other information in there and just cross-referencing. Sometimes the mind palace things get a little disheveled. Just got to go back in it.
Well, Mezzo, do you think that's a phrasy idea or crazy idea?
It will always be phrasy. I sounded like Nebula for a second. Don't tell me what to do.
I mean, I think there's something definitely going on with the sugar. It is an energy source with extremis. So I think it's a phrasy theory. But let's face it, that's still less sugar than a Starbucks drink.
That's true. It's just they've mentioned it so many times. Like we've seen him with just put a lot of sugar in stuff. And this is like the third time we've seen him drink coffee. So either he has a really weird sugar coffee addiction, or it has to be something with the Super Skrull trials. Obviously, he's the guinea pig. And like once they get it completely up to speed, then everybody else will have it. So and I think it's great. They're really basing the Super Skrulls on a science. A lot of this stuff was done on Skrullos, I think, in the actual comic series. And so Skrullos hadn't been destroyed yet. So I know a lot of stuff is different in the MCU. So I know that's why they couldn't really go with what the actual Secret Invasion was. But and for an MCU Secret Invasion, it's been pretty good so far. So
I mean, do you think it's just kind of him, that act of him throwing so much sugar into the coffee is the same way that, Nick Fury only slices his sandwiches diagonally. So it's a habit. So if we see him not do that, we know it's not them.
Yes. So that could be it too. The details now, those are the things you look for to see if they're different, and that, I think that's why a lot of people think Sharon Carter is a Skrull, is because she does a total 180 from, she goes from kissing Steve in Civil War to trying to topple democracy. I mean, now granted, a woman scorned and all that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
really, guys? Come on. That's a big stretch for me that she goes from that to that.
He went from Steve to Great Uncle Steve.
Okay, so my husband said he went from Steve to Great Uncle Steve. So, which I thought was cute. And more like Grandpa Steve. He's Grandpa Steve. But yeah, so I'm just like, there's so many different, like, you could make a case for anyone if you go back and look hard enough. You know, I could say, well, all these people called him Nick, so they must all be Skrulls. No, it's not necessarily true. You know, it's just like they could have just been like, screw you. Like, Steve, I'm older than you. I'm going to call you whatever I want.
Yeah.
Maria doesn't really seem like she's one to ask for permission. And Nat may just be doing it because she's annoyed at him.
Yeah.
You know? So, anyway, I'm done.
Let's get into our predictions then for this, right? For next week.
Right. Okay. So, well, first I want to know, okay, do you guys think, and Mezzo, I know I probably ruined all of that for you. I'm so sorry, but you'll
more like it'll make more sense when I have the context of it all.
So you don't have to answer any of these three questions, but I had said that the three main things that really that stuck out to me.
Only for me.
Right? Wrong answers only. Do you think that it is really Rhodey that called Fury's wife? Do you think it's somebody pretending to be him? Okay. And then do you think Guy is really dead? No. Okay. You know, you can answer with words.
Sorry. I don't think. Okay, so the reason I don't think it's Rhodey, just really quick, is because I feel like with the history that they've all had with the Avengers and stuff, like, it wouldn't be as cold and callous as the episode that I saw him in so far. Mm-hmm. And the reason I don't think Gaia is dead is, well, I mean, it's Amelia Clark. You don't have her on for 2 episodes and then kill her off.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like she's too big of a name for too much of a main character actor to just be killed off after 3 episodes.
Yeah. So, you know, I think they're setting her up for something else. I don't think this is the only series she's going to. So you introduce her and then you kill her off. But I mean, they have done that before. Yeah. You know, so.
Chris said maybe Graphic just doesn't like the bitterness of espresso. I put a ton of sugar in mine when I have one.
No, that's true. Okay, yeah, I think that's true, Chris. It could be that. Look, there are times that MT and I, because I follow MT on Twitter, and there are times that I can out there him.
Yeah, you can out phrasey him.
I can out phrasey him because, like, I've read some of the stuff that he has, and I'm like, I don't know, that's kind of a stretch. And then I'm like, well, what about this whole sugar extremist thing? And I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm just gonna sit over here and drink my coffee. So, you know, it's just one of those things that came right in my mind. Like, it's like that episode. While he had all that, and they were talking about, oh, you want some espresso with your sugar, you know, why don't you get an empty cup? You know, it's like that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, they've mentioned this a lot, and I had it in the back of my head already, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna look. Nothing, it's not mentioned. So either it's gonna be something and they're gonna retcon it, or it's intentional, or it's actually Kingsley Ben Adir's acting choice. So, and those are the 3 things that went through my head. So being a lapsed actor myself. So, but yeah. So, okay, let's get to wait.
Do you want to hear my thoughts?
Yes, Graveyard. I was like, no. Graveyard. I almost called you something else. But
Gaia is definitely not dead, especially because we do see her in clips for the trailers, stuff like that, and more things. I think she is already transformed into a super Skrull with Extremis, and her being able to transform is just a way to look like she's dead to the assailant. To do that, just to fool them, right? And as far as Rhodey, this is an espionage show, right?
Yeah.
And Fury's been off-world for many, many years.
Yeah.
And I think Rhodey is, because he knows it is Skrulls and he knows there's infiltration, so he is acting like a collaborator of the Skrulls, so he's acting as a double agent. So I think with his talk to Fury about people in their position, people like them getting to positions they're in, being fired, is he already understands that the U.S. government has been compromised, and he's working both sides of it right now. So him angering Fury is a way to get Fury into the right direction to help uncover this plot that is there. So him calling him Nick is just to piss him off, to kick his butt in a gear, because he's been kind of doing nothing while in Saber, essentially.
Yeah. I agree that I feel like this whole series is going to be to get Nick back in the game.
Yes.
To really get him back in the game. Not just the bravado he's been doing, but to actually get him back in the game.
Yeah, so I think it's just part of the plan to do it. It's they went through Hydra together, and now they have this other invasion that's going on there, and they have to both play double agents and play both sides and act like, hey, I'm on your side, so let's do this.
Huh. Okay, that's awesome. And so we've got. So you said you don't think Guy is dead, and you don't think Rhodey is. It's him, but he's not a Skrull. He's just like a liaison kind of thing. Okay, cool. I mean, he's liaison pretty much through all of the Iron Man movies. So liaison with Tony, and then liaison with the president, and then is now liaison with another president.
Well, and then he was liaison. He was working with Thunderbolt Ross, as well, and doing what he had to do. So I think that's why he's just doing what he has to do, and
he's put himself in a position where he always has a job.
Yes.
And hey, help a brother out. Yep. Sorry, just because I love when Samuel L. Jackson does that. Help a brother out. I love it. Call a brother. Samuel L. Jackson, I love you. I would hug you so hard if you were here right now. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. And I'm so sorry you have to wear the eye patch, dude, and that weird eye thing in there, but whatever. Dangerous liaisons. There you go. Hey, that Keanu Reeves was in that movie. But we're not going down that little rabbit hole. I'm keeping myself out of it. I'm just looking down it. That's it. Okay. Right. So let's go with predictions. So I have lost all faith that we're going to see any type of Skrull, like momentous Skrull. We got the whole Ross thing, and they haven't talked about him since then. Nobody said anything. It was like Maria just went, "Oh, he's a Skrull," and that was it. They haven't been looking for him or nothing. It's like, dude, come on. Maybe finding him, you'll find where the Skrulls are. Maybe. Yeah. So, it's like they didn't even ask. It's like they TM'd it.
Yep.
Just didn't mention it again. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's for the people that may not understand that reference, but okay. All right. So, Graveyard. Yes. We're going to go with you. We're going to start with you, and then Mezzo, you're up.
All right.
So Graveyard, what's your prediction?
I think we will be led to believe that Rhodey is a Skrull, but he's not. I think the prediction is, once again, I'm going to stick with the president as that of how we do it. It's going to be the president that we haven't seen yet. Eventually, we're going to see him. We have 3 episodes left that he is going to be the Skrull. I said I think Rhodey is playing both sides, and he'll pretend to be a Skrull, that maybe he was replaced and he killed the Skrull that replaced him, so he's acting like the Skrull.
So he was Skrulled, and then he killed the Skrull that
he scrolled the Skrull.
Yeah. You know what I call that?
What's that?
Boom.
Yeah.
You looking for this?
Looking for this?
Looking for this? Boom.
So So I think it'll be a fake out that will think that Rhodey is a Skrull, but he really isn't.
Okay. All right.
That's my prediction.
I wouldn't have put it past him to, swap it up, switch it up, swap it up.
Chris likes that theory, Graveyard.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like I said, this is a spy thriller, and there's always twists. There's always stuff like that. And Rhodey has always been the most obvious answer to be a Skrull. So I think, as I said at the very beginning, it's going to be no one that's impactful. I think it's just going to he's playing the long game, and that's what it is. So, all right.
So just because I have this weird question,
Mhm.
so do you think that we're gonna get like at the very end of the series, we'll get like a end credit scene where we might see like not see people as Skrulls, but see those like little whatever they're called pods,
Mhm.
and we just see like like a couple of people that like a couple of heroes and they're in there, and so we're like, oh my god, that's them. Do you think they'll wait and do it with for like an end credit scene type thing?
I think we'll get something that involves having to go to space on a
Mm.
mission, and it'll be the lead up to Fantastic Four.
Oh, you know what? That's a great. I mean,
Because the
that's
Super
cool.
Skrull
Yeah.
is first shown in Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get it in Secret Invasion, but yeah, I do think that this is leading to Fantastic Four as well. I mean, they can't put it up any longer, and the movie's coming, so
Yeah.
it seems logical. I mean, there's got to be some sort of logic to it. Now, granted, it might be MCU logic versus real logic, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea because I do think that this will lead into Secret Wars, and I'm sure we'll get the Fantastic Four in that as well because they'll have been in their own movie before then. Hopefully,
I think it'll be like the Baxter building the mission to go into space to help.
Oh, okay, yeah, like we just see the Baxter building up.
Yep.
The Baxter, that would be really cool. Actually, no characters, just the building. That would be great.
Yep.
I would be really excited about that. Okay, Mezzo, you're on the hot seat. Let's do this thing.
All right. This is my guess of who's a Skrull, what's going to happen, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Since I haven't seen the most recent episode, it's a little challenging.
What both of us have seen it, and it's still challenging.
Okay, what I kind of hope, since I don't believe Gaia, how do you say her name? How do you say it?
It's Gaia. They call her Gaia.
Okay. It is Gaia. Okay. That's what I thought. Then I thought, oh no, was I wrong?
Or Gia.
So,
no, Gaia.
Since I don't believe she's dead,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what happened to leading her dying. So this is just a random guess without knowing the context. I'm wondering if she's gonna like reappear, but as like a double agent that we didn't really know about, that she was actually good. But this is just me guessing that she isn't one revealed in this episode because I didn't see it.
Okay,
but, like,
so you're gonna say that.
So it was like a faked her death because she was made or something. Like I don't know what the episode actually had happened. So that's just a guess.
Okay, so you're saying she'll be revealed as somebody else.
Like she'll still be Gaia, but she'll have actually been turned and like Fury and them didn't know about it, like by a different organization or something.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And who's your prediction? Who might be a Skrull as a reveal for next week?
Yeah.
Because I'm so obvious, Graveyard Rhodey.
That's okay. That's. Don't worry about it. I mean,
I'm not worried. I mean,
you can be the pumpkin spice of nerds.
Remember, we said. So you're saying that's Rhodey during the blip or post blip? Yes. Not pre blip. Because that's the statute of limitations we set for this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. It's gotta be post flip.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's great. No, and I love that the whole Gaia thing. I think you're right on the money for that. So I've already told mine. I'm not going to do any I think this is what's going to happen. I went the thing with the extremists and the sugar. That's all I got for you guys today.
All right.
So I am also going with Rhodey because I went with him a couple weeks ago. I do think that the Rhodey that we see, the one that fired him, I do think that was a Skrull. I think that there is a Skrull out there of Rhodey. I think that Rhodey is going to kick some Skrull ass and get out. And I think that we might get a Rhodey versus Rhodey in this at some point. So I do think the Rhodey that fired Fury is a Skrull. But I think Rhodey's going to come back and he's going to be. because I think that's when he's the best. Like I was thinking when I was watching Iron Man 3 and he comes out of the Iron Patriot suit, he doesn't come out and just kind of crumple. He comes out fighting.
Oh, he comes out jumping.
Yeah, he jumps and like just takes, he's like, no, you gonna take me. Like it was very violent. As Pepper would say, oh, that was very violent. But but yeah, so I think we might get a Rhodey versus Rhodey.
Nice.
So I think that he's gonna be it. I don't think I don't think Ritson is one. I think that that's a fake out. That that the Skrulls are engineering it to get somebody closer to the presidency. And that person is Val. But but I just think that could be it. They could be planting stuff.
Yeah, it'd be really funny to see like a Rhodey on Rhodey fight, and then Fury looking worried, then killing one, and then like the real Rhodey being like, were you sure?" He goes, "Bro, brother, of course I was."
Okay,
but what we
the
see
real
is him,
one
like,
goes,
freaking out about it.
"Fury, what the hell?" And he's like, "Oh, I thank God I got the right one." Kind of thing.
So we got get going here. So we have your predictions. I want to throw this quick thing in here. If it's Rhodey versus Rhodey, I want Terrence Howard to be one Rhodey.
No, they get somebody else. They get John David Washington.
I'm just saying, like, just to throw that meta into the air that you have a Rhodey that's Terrence Howard faces Don Cheadle as Rhodey. He's like, wrong Rhodey.
He's like, I didn't meet you in Iron Man 1. I only know this guy.
Exactly.
That would be funny.
Or
you just have Terrence Howard just like show up with something, just be like, hey guy.
All right. So everyone, Frey will post the points into our Discord channel, and make sure to follow the Find That Skrull Discord channel that we have for Kyber K Productions. Put in your own theories. If you agree with us, and like, comment, subscribe below, comment if you think is right, and play along with us too. We'd love to hear from you guys.
So we have this discretionary points, but we haven't really been doing them, that's okay. I think that we're going to do them at the end. We'll go back and vote and see every week, like, who had the funniest prediction after the series is over, and just be like, or what was the most surprising prediction. We'll give points for that and stuff.
Yes.
Because I think that's just going to be easier.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to another Calamar property.
Chris, that would be hilarious, but he would never do it because he's got such an ego. He wouldn't want to be painted up. Sorry.
It's all right. Mezzo has a spoiler-filled review of Across the Spider-Verse.
So it's not like, and it has spoilers in it, but it's not like so huge spoilery that I tell what exactly happens in the story. So, Across the Spider-Verse was a joy to watch and experience. Yes, experience. Like it was in its own sense, just like the first one, an experience. The new take on animation in the sequel is just another step up, like from the first, the way it looks, how it looks like a comic book, the neat adjustments to like frame per second, and the lines of like the comic book lines, like moving with the characters and stuff. It just feels like it's even better than the first one. And it feels like you're like when you're reading a comic book and it comes to life. That's what like so many people reading comics want to see, is like having that come to life. But animation style aside, this movie is filled with many references to many of the other Spider-Man characters across the multiverse. During a chase sequence throughout the Spider-Man like hub, I kind of called it. You can see different Spider-Man either in the chase or in the background. And frame by frame, like that kind of chase sequence is going to reveal so many different things when you watch it frame by frame. Like you're going to, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. What's that one? The story is one that takes you like full on adventure that never stops. And like the downs and ups of the movie, like where it's calmer and stuff like that, are like they're pretty well balanced. Oscar Isaac did a swell job as Miguel O'Hara, like the tormented Miguel O'Hara. But the standout to me is always Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker. Like, I love his character. The way described him was like a lovable goof who knows the actual severity of the situation, but like uses his personality of making jokes to try to lighten the mood a little bit, because he wants the people he cares about to be happy, so he'll try to lighten the mood, but he knows deep down how severe like some situations are. So I feel like his character had the most heart to me. Like I mean, I may also have a fondness for Jake Johnson from New Girl and Jurassic Park.
Jake Johnson just has like his voice just sounds disheveled. Like he just sounds disheveled.
But like lovably disheveled.
Absolutely lovably disheveled. But like he's perfect for Peter B. Parker because it's like you can just hear in his voice, he's just like, okay, it's just really like, oh my gosh. Okay,
and I know personally when you're watching it and you see the dangerous things he's doing with his kid, but you realize that he's not like a normal parent, so we can't really judge on that or relate to it because we're not
she's
like
not
superhero
a normal
parents.
Kid.
She's not a normal kid. So okay, so Miles' relationship with his parents is a little distant, as his secret always put a barrier in between them. His parents are sweet and loving and have the best intentions, but like keeping that kind of secret and how much it affects your real life. Because he's a kid too, really.
Right.
And so handling all of that makes it pretty distant. And I'm hoping there's not going to be an even bigger gap in the future. So in the movie reveals, here's a spoiler. The movie reveals that the spider that had bit Miles was not from his like timeline universe.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an anomaly in the world of the spider heroes, which I found like super interesting. There's a twist at the end that has to do with the spider that bit him, and the machine that they've used to send Spider-Man back to where they are from. And it's a very interesting machine. So I'm not going to give more of that. So that little twist I'll leave for you guys to have, for those who haven't seen it but are watching this review. It's filled with action laughs and encompassed with like heartfelt moments. You don't want to miss it. It's really good. In the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, it felt like it was one of the first movies in a while that I didn't feel like fatigued from the cinematic multiverse. And I'm not sure why I felt that way, but the Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse were like breaths of fresh air for me when it came to the cinematic universe in Marvel. So that is the end of my review.
Well, thank you, Mezzo. Appreciate it. I haven't seen it yet, but
I haven't either,
I still left
you left
a little bit for you to still watch. Like I don't explain why there's a spider chasing sequence. I don't explain the detail. I don't go through breakdowns. I just wanted to give an honest review without giving away too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for that. I can't wait to watch it.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And I
wanted to see it anyway, but I'm really excited. And I love that they got Oscar Isaacs to be Miguel.
I listened to him. I didn't know it was him until after. And I was like, this is super similar.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God, why does he sound like the dad from
I'm like, oh, it's Oscar Isaac.
That's when you're like, I like Miguel now. Miguel's so sweet.
I don't know about that.
All right, well, maybe we'll do a watch party on Twitch with all of us, and we'll watch the first one together, and then we'll watch the second one when it comes to streaming. So make sure to check that out. We'll do that on our Twitch channel, and then post our reactions to it. All right, so moving on. Despite all my rage, I am still just a Nicolas Cage.
Oh my God. That tickles my Smashing Pumpkins fan heart.
So anyone who hasn't seen the trailer for Nick Cage in Dead by Daylight, the link's in the description below. Make sure to check that out. I want to get what your guys' thoughts. We need to do Dead by Daylight as a gaming thing anyway, because it is. I'm pretty sure it's free. And I'd like to see us as a channel play the asymmetrical horror that is Dead by Daylight. One of us being the killer, the rest being survivors. So, Mezzo, we'll start with you. What did you think of the trailer with Nick Cage in Dead by Daylight?
Anything Nick Cage is in, like, even though like I didn't get a chance to see Renfield, I didn't get to see the unbearable weight of massive talent. I didn't get to see them, but like it's one of those things that I'm looking so forward to it. And then I watched this trailer, and I wrote down, all I could do was giggle. This is really one of the few things that any other actor would make it feel cheesy, but with Nick Cage, it feels awesome. Like, because he knows Renfield was great. Okay, Chris. Well, really need to see it because I do like Nicholas Hoult a lot as well. But like it's one of those things I looked at it and go, oh, I should play that game. I haven't I've never played it. But he's one of those few things that it's like it makes it feel awesome rather than super cheesy. But like he knows how to market how people see him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just has fun with it. And so that just makes me like him even more. And it makes me want, and the companies using him know that people feel that way. So it's very smart marketing to have him in a game, which is funny because last week when just a week ago when Aubrey and I played Monster Prom, they ask you like prompts to decide who gets to go first the next time. And one of them was like, it starts with two parts of a prompt. And the first part was name an actor that comes to your mind. And I said Keanu Reeves, and then Aubrey said Tom Cruise. And the second part was whoever has the actor that'd be the weirdest in a video game. When I was like, well, Keanu Reeves has already been in one, but now we got Nick Cage.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's my thoughts.
All right, Frey.
So I have questions.
Yes.
Like I have questions. All right. Dead by Daylight. That's a game, right? It wasn't like a movie or anything before that.
Correct.
And is this an expansion to the game?
Yes. So they have packs. They have Survivor packs, and I'll get into my favorite Survivor pack at some point. But the biggest thing is they have different maps. It's asymmetrical horror where you have one person be the killer and hunting down people. And they have villain packs as well. So you have Pinhead, you have Michael Myers, you have Jason Voorhees. You have all the stuff they're getting IPs from to have all these characters in there. And we have Nick Cage as Nick Cage.
As Survivor.
No,
so you get to
as a Survivor. Him. Yes.
I think that's great. No, so I was going to say, Nick Cage has done, so the very few actors do this in their career. You know, he started off early. We remember him from the Raising Arizona days, right? You know, we remember that young. You never saw Raising Arizona.
I like the one movie that I have watched over and over with Nick Cage is Face Off.
Oh my God. I want to take. So you got to watch. I want to take Face Off. So you must have really loved when Pratt kept saying "Face Off." It's a face off. So
Peaches. I could eat Peaches for hours.
Right, there you go. All right, so you got to watch Raising Arizona because that is early Cage, and that's pretty interesting. So he's really interesting. It's a great movie too. Anyway, lots of good people in it. And off topic. So that's number 2 for me. All right. But no, I mean, I guess not because it does. We were talking about
Moonstruck. I have not seen Moonstruck either, Chris.
Oh, that one's good too. All right, so I think it's fun, and I love that he's doing this. But he's transitioned from young Nick Cage to like superstar Nick Cage, and now he's transitioned into I don't care if you make fun of me. I'm just going to be me, Nick Cage. So if you want me in a movie, you're going to need to just know I'm going to be Nick Cage in it. I call it the Bill Murray syndrome because Bill Murray did it. And very few actors have the ego or to be able to put aside their ego to do this. And Bill Murray, I just think he just doesn't care. He's just like, I'm just going to be Bill Murray. Everybody just wants Bill Murray. So let's just do this. Yeah. So I think that's what Nick Cage has done. I love it. He's a nerd. So of course he's going to want to do some sort of game thing. Fantastic. I just think that's amazing. I mean, he took his last name from freaking Luke Cage. Let's do this. Come on. Power me. Yeah. Sweet Christmas. All right. But yeah, so I think it's cool. And I loved the way that they did like the cinematics and everything. It was a little uncanny valley for me. But most of the time when people that you actually like are celebrities or people you know are in games, it does give that uncanny valley thing. Unless you live capture it and somehow put it in the game as live capture, it's always going to look like that.
And even then, like with Indiana Jones and the de-aging part, there were small moments that you're like, oh, that wasn't quite realistic looking.
Yeah.
It's very, I kind of touch on it later in my nerd out, so I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So I'm excited. I haven't really played much of Dead by Daylight. Now, obviously, the only other actor that can play that survivor as himself would be Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And see,
100%. First thing I thought of too after.
Bruce Campbell just forewent, I don't know if that's even a word, but forewent the young, starving type person and just went into, I'm Bruce Campbell, and if you want me in your movie, I'm going to be Bruce Campbell.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm excited. My first initial thought was, especially from the pictures for Nick Cage in this, holy crap, he looks like Jason David Frank.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting comparison.
He looks a lot like Jason David Frank, and I thought, wow, that's Jason David Frank just from the still. Then I realized it's Nick Cage. I think Nick Cage being Nick Cage is awesome, so we can see Nick Cage die. Now, I believe that Ash is in Dead by Daylight, but they saved anything else because they did an Evil Dead asymmetrical horror game with all the voice actors.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Imagine like Nick Cage's death animation.
Yes. So
it's gonna look like Paul Rubens and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Kyber Cave and us that have it should play this as a live multiplayer gaming, as we're trying to do more of that on our channel. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you want to see us do that. And, you know, we can even have Frey, if the Russia's Game Rock can just join us and watch all the grisly horror that is this Dead by Daylight. So that's all I got.
I love that he's like, and she can watch, because all she'll do in the game is just stand there and she'll be screaming on the screen going, I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
So you're going to be like Jennifer Lawrence in the Hot Wings. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Jennifer Lawrence.
What do you mean? Oh, she was so good on that. I only
got to see the TikTok, which showed like her initial reaction to every single level.
Yeah.
And all I could do was giggle and want to have lunch with her.
Yeah, she was
and
just
a couple
like
mimosas.
Yeah, she was just like, oh yeah, oh well, that's not bad. And then she was like, that's a little warmer. And then at some point, she's just like, starts to almost cry. Yeah, she's like, oh, she's warm. You know, she's real good in it. Yeah. So if you guys like hot ones, First We Feast, that's a really good one to do. My husband watches them, and he usually tells me which ones are really good.
All right, we gotta get potatoes.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
It's all right. Sorry. But speaking of Nick Cage and Nicholas Hoult and vampires and all that jazz, there is a remake coming out of Nosferatu.
Oh. I am so excited about this.
Bill and Nicholas Hoult is going to be in it. He's not going to be Count Orlok. That is actually going to be Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, that is
I like Bill.
Cool. Is he going to be Nosferatu then, or do we not know?
Yeah. Count Orlok is Nosferatu.
Oh, so, Count Orlok. Okay, yeah. I forget.
So this is my thoughts, and I don't know if you all remember Shadow of the Vampire, early 90s, with Willem Dafoe playing Max Schreck as a real-life vampire. Willem Dafoe is going to be in this remake, too. They had to get him.
Is he? Oh, yes. That's so awesome. Well, I mean, they had to. He was so good in Shadow of the Vampire.
Yes. So I'm excited because it is the guy who worked on a whole bunch of other horror stuff properties. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I forgot. But he does great work, and I'm excited. You know, we're gonna have lots of good stars in there. Like I said, Skarsgård playing the creepiness. He's gonna kill it as Max Schreck or Count Orlok. I'm excited for the remake. It's been 100 years since the original, 101 years since the original. And that was technically the first vampire movie was Nosferatu.
It is so interesting. I've seen it. I've seen the original. And it is such an interesting movie. I was like, when I was younger, I was really into like just watching like all the older films and like the first of its kind films
Yeah.
and genres, just to like get techniques and see how people acted back then versus now and different things. I was, I was an actor then, so of course you're always doing homework. But it was real. I mean, it was really good. It really was. How they use some of the special effects that they had to use back
Yes.
then to make it look like that, and the way that they did it, it's just so cool. Nowadays, that's what the kids do when they're in their backyards, and they use those old techniques. But
Yes.
it was just so interesting to see at like basically at the dawn of movies.
Yes.
That you could see something like this. I'm sure it scared the bejesus out of everybody when they saw it the first time. Those of us who are more into it and have seen stuff are like, oh, this isn't that bad. It's
I've
not
seen
scary
some
at all.
things.
Yeah, right. I've seen some things. Some mortality chick. She's seen
Nobody
some stuff.
knows the thing.
But
So,
yeah,
are you excited for the remake then?
I am. I really want to see what they do with it because I'd like to see if they try to make it more like more traditional and use more practical effects, or if they go just like full on, let's just blast this out of the park kind of thing. So like it's like Terminator versus Terminator 2.
Yeah.
First Terminator, you love it, but it's pretty simple. Terminator 2 is the spectacle. So I'm like, is it going to be like just we're going to remake it and make it real artsy and stuff and maybe get an Oscar? Or we're just going to blow this thing out, this fracking thing out. So.
Do you want it in color or black and white?
I would like a mix of both. I would like the vampire, like the Count Orlok stuff. Orlok?
Yeah, Orlok. Yeah.
Orlok. Okay. That I would like to be in black, like whenever he's in the coffin. Nighttime in black and white would be really cool, and then in the daytime, it's in color because that's when the vampire can't get them, kind of thing. It's that kind of thing, like where it's when you're safe, everything's in color, but when you're not safe, it's in black and white. Something thematic like that. I want them to like art the frack out of this. I want it to be like cool new stuff with super old stuff, and so whoever's doing this, I have high expectations of this, and you better live up to them,
or she'll find you on Twitter.
Yes, I will find you on Twitter and I will let you know. I will Karen you. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
She'll go crazy on your ass.
Yes. All right, so Mezzo.
Okay, so I've never seen the original.
You've had 100 years.
Don't tell anyone how old I really am, right there. Jeez. So I do hope, as with many originals that are remade, that it honors the original, but also gives a new breath of life into it as a new take on it. I love Bill Skarsgård. He was so good as well in John Wick 4, I think it was, that we just had.
Yeah, whichever John Wick that was.
He was great as Pennywise.
I haven't seen that. So I have a weird thing about spiders and clowns, and when clowns turns into spiders, it's really kind of weird for me. But I hear clown spider. I think that I hear he was fantastic in it. People just rave about it.
He was, and he can do the smile thing like on cue, like it's all him. He did it on one of those like late night talk shows, like Jimmy Fallon or something like that, or Kimmel. One of the Jimmys, because it's the ones I've watched. Anyway, so I'm excited for it though, because I never saw the original, so I know if I don't watch the original before I see it, that I won't have a possible letdown, but I also won't recognize any callbacks if there are any. So
so it sounds like we need to do a group watch of Nosferatu and then Shadow of the Vampire before this.
Oh yeah, you know what? That would be fun. I would love to do something like that. We might do that. We might do that one Friday night or something.
Yeah. Oh, and
cool.
by the way, it is Robert Eggers who did The Witch, which was a time period accurate horror movie He did The Lighthouse with William Dafoe. Hey, bye. He did The Lighthouse with William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, which was purely black and white. So we know he can do it. So there's good potential.
You have select things in color. All the blood just be red and everything else is black and white.
Yes.
I really don't want him to do. See, to me, that would be too Sin City like. You know what I mean?
That's true. I forgot about Sin City.
And I mean, I just think, although I did like how they did it, but that was more because it was comic accurate.
Yes.
Like that was a comic book thing. You know, I feel like it needs to have something. We have all these things like with music where it's like, okay, when this music's going on, everybody's safe. But when this, you know, in horror movies especially, like you can tell, that's how I know when to look away. So, because I will look away because I will have nightmares.
So like you're saying that
nightmares.
When Mezzo Scare and B&B comes out, that we're going to play music at the wrong time. So
there you go.
Frey can just be in the movie, so then she won't be as scared.
So no,
I'm whatever.
No, I'm excited for this. I hope it does great. I hope this is what Werewolf by Night was supposed to be.
Hey, I liked Werewolf by Night. I did like how they did that, but they used the color because up until the point they were in danger. As soon as the danger passed, the color happened. So it's a really interesting thing to do. Like, you know, you have and it's disorienting too. So it can confuse people a lot, which can also lead to that kind of like always being on edge type thing, which you want in horror movies because then that, you know, people tend to enjoy the experience more. I know what it's all about, and I apparently have seen a lot of horror movies in my life. I just am not. I don't search them out. So,
you need a subscription to Shudder.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
Shudder is the Netflix of horror movies, basically.
Yes,
it is horror movies on a streaming platform. So
I
don't have it, but I think
I do.
Surprise.
I've
looked at a lot of like, you know, we'll start talking about horror movies and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that, you know, and I just see Graveyard's eyes go, I thought you weren't a horror fan.
I thought you weren't a horror movie person.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Like I enjoy them, but I've never seen like Friday the 13th. I've never seen The Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I've never seen those.
Oh wow. And see, I've
disappointed you, Graveyard. I'm sorry.
We have a lot of stuff to watch. So
yeah, that's okay.
But we got to get going into our final segment, Nerd Out. Speaking of visuals, it's time for another Mezzo's Musings.
Hi, everybody. All right. So this is on visual effects and CGI. So over the years, you know, we've seen technology develop beyond the wildest dreams of the visual inventors before us. Like, could you imagine the Wright brothers seeing what airplanes are like today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and how far they can go now and how safe they are in comparison to a lot of things like cars. And in the early days of movies and TV, there were tricks of the eyes used to give their special effects. Like, I think it was the original Dune, but it was an older movie. And I know this is sorry for those who've seen the original Dune and don't feel like it's an old movie. Sorry, but when it comes to visual effects, yes, it is. There is like this massive area and these people looking small down below, but there was no way to replicate that at that time. Like, you know, not with special effects, they didn't have that kind of thing. So they actually used like special, it's very Hobbit when it comes to forced perspective. Like they use forced perspective for that kind of thing. So practical effects were like the only way to really go, but it was always a trick of the eye. Then movies like Jurassic Park and Titanic came that like just blew wide open special effects and things. I do think that sometimes if a practical effect can be used, I think high tech. I think if a practical effect can be used, I think it should.
Yes.
So I think it adds so much more to it. But my nerd out for you today is on visual and CGI effects that we see in movies and the artists behind them. These artists they don't often get the credit that they deserve, and are often rushed to finish things in a not very reasonable amount of time. And so TV shows can often, especially TV shows, because they're pumped out, weekly episodes, and they're often rough or unfinished looking because they had to rush to get it in on their deadline. Movies are on such a large scale that it can take weeks to properly like edit and render a small few seconds of footage. Like the Avengers assembling at the end of Endgame was so much CGI and so many different things that it probably took weeks and weeks to just do like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So with the technology of today, many of us viewers can tell when something is off. So we talked about Uncanny Valley earlier. Like, why was it that when people saw the trailer for Cats and Cats was such a huge musical on Broadway, but then the movie flopped? You're looking at them and you know they're supposed to be cats, but they look so much like humans. It's like kind of disturbing. Like when you're
Also,
watching the
the
musical,
whole
it's very
butthole
obviously a
thing
costume.
was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the butthole scenes because, you know, the internet is weird.
No, I just don't want to.
And yeah, I backed my way into it and couldn't get out of it fast enough.
And we know for those who watch anything with special effects or enjoy it, you know, the hardest thing to do is replicate like the human mouth because there's so many different muscles. It's so intricate on how the mouth moves. A lot of the time, you know, like how your bottom lip moves affect how your top lip is and stuff like that. And so, like, for example, the Indiana Jones movie, the de-aging was super good. Like, I mean, you really enjoy it. But anytime, it's so hard to get anything perfect because as a viewer, you subconsciously know when something's off. Like his teeth, at one point, it looked like a flat. It didn't look 3D inside of his mouth. It looked like a flat plate. And then there's moments where they're trying to animate him walking. And of course, you can't have the 81-year-old Harrison Ford looking young and spry. So they'll use a digital model. And sometimes you go, ooh, it looks like a video game in those moments. Video game CGI and stuff is fine because the entire game is like that. It all belongs and fits. But when something like that is in a live action movie, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But part of it is like these, especially these huge ones. The reason I sometimes I would wish when it was a delayed movie, it was to give VFX artists more time to finish, and in a good working environment too. But this is why I chose that. So there's a YouTube channel that reacts to good and bad VFX from a range of works, while at the same time educating viewers about these effects, like so particle effects, liquid, solid. Putting plates together, what rotoscoping is, and all that. So if you want to check out this channel, it's called Corridor Crew. I put a link in the description below right before we started. Sam and Nico, who lead the company Corridor Digital, show the hard work that many VFX artists do while keeping it fun. So a few examples of series they have are like the most satisfying render series, like the most satisfying loop, stuff like that. Trick shots where they have one guy who does a practical trick shot, like they're in the studio, and one guy who's trying to make a CG render of everything and see who gets the trick shot done first. Because, like for those who don't know, VFX artists need to know about like physics and how things move and look. And they need to know math because if something gets launched, like they're trying to launch on their trick shot, like a ball into a cup at the end of the room. You need to know physics enough to know what to put the calculations in for the program to send it that way. So yeah, you'd be surprised how much they know about that and color grading. Like they talk about how a black in a scene needs to match the other blacks in that scene too. But it doesn't always do that. So that's why some things will look a little out of place, like that contrast and such. So as a consumer of entertainment, I'm very big and love-filled thank you to all the VFX artists out there in the entertainment industry. You the real MVPs because you work really hard, and we know as viewers, like I'd be happy to wait an extra month for a movie if it gives the VFX artists time to finish it properly and not kill themselves doing it at the same time. So that is my review and dirt out.
And Husby apologized for being in the background.
Well, thank you, Mezzo, for another awesome Mezzo's Musings. I love this. I love that series. I love the phraziest theories that he does. I may have to call mine from the graveyard, honestly.
You know what? I think you should. Or you should call it like Mausoleum Musings or something, because, you know, graveyard mausoleums. And
Yes.
it's a little, I don't know if that's a little too much.
So, no, I mean, yeah, it's, I completely agree, Mezzo. I think I'd rather wait as well. You know, I think you're talking about, you know, the 80, oh, probably he's 80 at that time when they filmed Dial of Destiny. And we saw the issue with Samuel L. Jackson, the 70-year-old man running as the 40-year-old man in Captain Marvel. And you could clearly tell it was that. And I think we're always going to have that issue of real people being next to CG people until we all do CG, so that it all looks the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that'll be when we all decide to just download ourselves into like AI bodies and stuff.
It'd be
and then
like
we'll
Ready Player One.
Yeah, like Ready Player One, or like what was that movie that Bruce Willis was in where they grew the bodies and then you downloaded yourself into the new body?
Replicants?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Was that Bruce Willis? Was I right about that? Oh,
there's been a few. There's been a few. I know Keanu Reeves did one as well, where his
and like
family
Brad
died.
Pitt did one. And
Cool
then,
World?
No. Well, I mean, Cool World is cool, but no.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
I understood that reference.
I think he did one. There was also one. It's not that, but the guy that when Ben Affleck got his, is it called Payday, where he gets his memory screwed with, like, so he doesn't remember.
Butler, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of them, but anyway, that's number 3. Okay.
Yes. All right.
I'm trying to do it. The reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to recognize when I'm going on tangent, so I stop.
We'll just have Connor go ding.
So there. How many tangents?
We'll call it the potato count.
The potato count. There we go.
Chuck said it's paycheck.
That's
or
Pachek.
Pachek.
That was his last name.
Yes.
His name was Pachek.
All right. Well, I like to thank everyone here for joining us on this Saturday Morning Nerd. Awesome having Mezzo and Frey here with me as always. Thank you to everyone watching and listening live and watching us in the future. We appreciate you. Make sure to check out everything we do. And let's just do our quick little plug. Well, we'll start with you, Mezzo.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mezzo. Paycheck, Bill Dick Book. Oh, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter and, yes, now on Threads at MezzoJD. You can find me on Kyber Cave Productions, and you can find me on my soon-to-be revamped Twitch channel, which is also just MezzoJD. Everything MezzoJD.
Official Mezzo.
And catch me on Saber Rattle tomorrow night.
Well, is our channel now linked with anything new?
We officially were approved for partnership with Dubby yesterday. So yes, we will. I have to get it all sorted, but we will be soon. I already ordered some drink mixes. They're an energy drink company, and we will be giving you, if you want to check out Dubby, and you put in the coupon code KCP2023, you will get 10% off of your purchase. So check that out. And then also on my personal side, I became an ambassador for Nomad Trek store, which is kind of like a gamer setup store with fun things. They've got stuff for Apex and Overwatch. They also got like headphones. I ordered some headphones that have like cat ears, and it's all cool lights. So,
oh my God. What?
Yeah, I know. It has paw prints like right here that glow.
Oh my God.
I know. So I'm very excited for that. So I became an ambassador for Nomad Trek. I will be sharing that information as well. I believe my coupon code is MezzoJD10. It gets you 10% off on their website. And then that's it. I will be sharing the links and everything like that tomorrow night in Saber Rattle. I just didn't, since it just happened yesterday, I didn't get a chance to prep it all this morning.
All right. Thank you.
Yay.
Ray.
Yay. Yay. I know Dubby. All right.
Yes, you do.
I really do. Okay. So my name is Frey, and I'm here to say that I don't know. I can't rhyme. I can't.
Have a good
It's just-
day.
have a good day. Nerd out in every way.
Oh snap! She don't know how to rhyme. She claimed, but yes, she
And I'm
rhymed.
out, folks. No, I'm just kidding. All right. All right. I am Frey, also Frey Girl, but everybody calls me Frey. I'm on, I'm on this show right here every Saturday, the Saturday Morning Nerd Out. And on Tuesdays, I am on the download with our sister channel, Distance Nerding. I mod for both channels, also mod for the Nerd Haven, which Mezzo and I mod for. So, and we have a lot of fun there. But yeah, it's just a nerd community that's not affiliated with really a channel or anything. We just want to talk about nerd stuff. We try to keep it positive. We just launched that this week, really, basically, or last week.
Last week.
It was Friday.
Last week. It was Friday. Okay. All right. I don't know. I never know what day it is. Never. I only know when I'm supposed to show up. That's it.
I
and I
lose
have a
track
list for
when my
that.
kids aren't in school sometimes.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's how I knew what day it was when my son was in school. All right. So other things about me, you can get me on TikTok and Instagram. On TikTok, I am Gotham.Oracle. On Instagram, I am Gotham_Oracle. On Twitter and on YouTube, I am at Frey Girl. And you can find me there. The YouTube channel is honestly shorts of my corgis. That's really it. I think there might be one of me being excited about going to see a movie. And I think that's about it. But it's all just corgis. So if you ever want to see my dogs, that's where you go. And then I also do a thing called Frey About Town on our Patreon, and you can actually join our Patreon for as little as $1. And you can actually get access to me. Basically, it's just me going, hey, I'm in this restaurant and this is what's going on. That's it.
What I'm eating.
Yeah. So I'm trying. And maybe at one point I'll actually show the place, but who knows? So we've got a couple of really fun ones coming up. I sent a couple of them I was like, hey, just save these, just do them whenever. But yeah, that's it. So I guess I'm done.
Thank you very much. And I am Graveyard. Always a pleasure to be joined with these awesome people here next to me. It's always a pleasure every Saturday morning with you guys. You can find me here at Kyber K Productions 3 or 4 days a week. You can find me on the build running DC brackets right now. It's the summer of DC over at Distance Nerding. On top of that, you can follow me on social media for the podcast of the Mostly Pod Out at Night, mostly anywhere at Pod Out at Night. And on top of that, a creation happened last week where the Beard has its own Twitter handle now, and it's Graveyard's Beard. If you want to see some really weird stuff being posted by Graveyard's Beard, go check that out at Graveyard's Beard because it's funny. It's fun. Check it out. Spread the word. And so thank you, Cavers, Dwellers, and Splunkers for joining us. We will see you tomorrow night for Saber Rattle. And until then, you guys be good to each other, and we'll nerd out next week. Bye.
Everybody nerd out. Keep nerding.